So welcome everybody. For those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Thomas Cutler. I'm the Chief Science Officer and co-founder of Asili Global, for a multinational company that's dedicated to health and wellness. And our goal really is to connect people with products, people with new people, and people with amazing experiences, all with the goal of creating a new and more fulfilling life. Asili has its own origins. It's a Swahili word that means pure, origin, natural, and we've adopted it to mean a new beginning. New beginning for the health, for prosperity, and clearly one of our main goals is to help drive happiness in today's day and age. A little bit of background about our product philosophy and who we are as a company. We have a really simple philosophy. It's maybe you've heard a saying similar in other areas, but we're all about all of the good and none of the bad. We're very much about clean, all natural products, and we really focus on getting rid of unnecessary deadly fillers that may exist. And why? And a lot of that stems from us as founders and the influences that we have. We're very much about, me personally, for example, I'm very much about formulating products that I want to consume, my wife wants to consume. She's a strong driving factor in the development of the product we'll talk about today, in terms of what it can do and what it does, not just for her, but she wanted a product that was safe for her kids, a product that's, we believe that products are really for everybody, not just not depending on your race or your age. So a little bit more about what that philosophy means and entails is they really need to complete three major characteristics. They need to be safe, they need to be effective, and they have to be easy to share. And there's other characteristics in terms of all natural, unique ingredients, simple to consume, and clearly great taste is one thing. I'm a firm believer in nutrition does not have to taste awful. Like good nutrition can not just be healthy for you, but it can also taste very good. So all of those factors combine, and of course affordability is a key factor as well in terms of creating products that really can meet demands of all people, of all ages, and of all ethnicities. And we're really excited about some of the things that we're doing, not just here domestically in the United States. We have offices and operations in Korea, South Korea, Mexico, Colombia, Dominican Republic, and soon we'll be expanding into other markets, and we're excited for that growth. Getting back to products, because they're really the vehicle that drives the heart of our business. Products, we just don't produce products that we don't firmly believe can be of value to people. And again, if they're not safe, if they're full of a bunch of garbage, fillers, if they're just poorly sourced ingredients, you won't find them here in Asili. That's one of the major things. Again, if my wife doesn't give the stamp of approval, and she's not a PhD biochemist like me, but she's very much a consumer and an avid consumer of health products, we just don't move forward. Now, in addition to having this product philosophy, we also combine that philosophy with some very easy to understand and easy to incorporate principles of health and wellness. We utilize the term core, which is the essence or the most essential part of nutrition, to really drive and focus the what are steps that you can take, simple steps in terms of cleanse, optimize, rejuvenate, and energize your body with the consumption of products and also other physical activities. So before I jump in, I can't see anybody who's raising their hand or anything, but just as a point of thumb, we're living in amazing times right now, times when we are facing some pretty amazing circumstances. And so, what are some of the things that we're having to deal with? Well, we're having to deal really with a lot of quarantine situations, isolation, and we're finding ourselves. If I could see you now, I would ask you how many of you are sneaking a little bit of stress eating into your lives right now. Raise your hands, even if it's just virtually. I'm calling this the Corona 15 or the COVID-19 15, where because of isolation, because we're a little bit uncertain and I'm worried, we're starting to our mental health is starting to be affected, and it's also being affected by decisions that we're taking and making in terms of our health and wellness and our nutrition. And so, how do we combat that, and what are ways in which we can address that? And today, I just want to talk about a very simple nutraceutical product that helps address some of these issues in terms of alleviating depression and improving your mood, and also giving you a little bit better edge in terms of your appetite and getting rid of some of that stress-induced eating. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our flagship product. And our flagship product is creatively called Purple. We love it. We love it. It's the new color of health, as the slide says. We love the fact that it's a brilliant, dark, deep red, reddish blue color, purple. I mix this up. I personally drink this every single day. Not that should make a difference to you, but it does to me. It's this kind of thing that I just love to drink every single day. And Purple has some very simple benefits. It's a multifunctional drink in the sense that when you drink the product, one of the things that you'll feel immediately is a sense of energy. Natural energy. It's light. It's not oppressive. It's not going to induce jitters and make you hop off the walls. Just very subtle, clean, natural energy. The other benefit that you'll feel in probably the next 30 to 60 minutes is an overall feeling of wellness and happiness, and your mood will improve. And I'll get into some of the reasons why that happens. Over time, as you consume the product, you'll find that you'll start to notice things like, well, my pants feel a little bit better, fit a little bit better. I'm finding that I'm more inclined to get out and work out and do things, exercise, and make sure that I'm just feeling out all the parameters of good health and wellness because I'm more motivated to do that. So those are some of the benefits that you'll just notice straight away from the product. There's really some what I would call acute benefits that you perceive almost immediately, and then over time there are longer term benefits that manifest themselves over the course of time. Now we have a twin sister product called Purple Boost. And I'll talk a little bit about that today as well. I just want you to know that there's in Boost, there's some extra energy. Obviously, the name implies that there's a little bigger kick. And if you're a well-accustomed energy drink consumer, this is a better product for you because it does have a little more kick and is a really actually great. A great pre-workout drink, and that's a little more where that focus is. But today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this brilliant color purple. Now, notice over here on the side of this image, a number of different dark colored fruits: blueberries, red grapes, eggplants, red cabbage. All of these foods have something in common. It's a pigment that's called anthocyanin. And this is just the simple chemical structure of anthocyanin. That's what gives these fruits and foods this deep color. We've chosen and been very selective about the products that we include and the sources of anthocyanins, and I've illustrated some of those here. In purple, you'll notice that hibiscus flower, purple tea, purple corn, lemon verbena, which is not shown here, are at the heart of what we call a C3G blend. C3G is short for cyanidin 3-glucoside, which is a pretty well-studied anthocyanin. And some of those benefits we'll elaborate a little bit later. Some of those studies have been done on animals, and they've been later been confirmed in human studies. And I'll show you some of the work that our partners have done with our product. In Boost, our C3CG blend consists of maki, hibiscus, purple tea. And it's a very, again, there's a little bit difference in terms of composition between the two products. And I just wanted to highlight what the major forces are within the product itself. A little bit about purple tea. It's a relatively new component in the nutraceutical world. Purple tea is a plant. The species is Camellia sinensis. It's a species of tea plant that is very universal throughout the world. It has some unique properties, in part because of where and how it's cultivated. It's cultivated almost exclusively in Kenya, the country in Kenya and Africa. You'll notice it here highlighted in green. It's also grown at altitude, and altitude is what is driving a little bit of this evolutionary divergence between purple tea and green tea. Because it is exposed to more UV radiation and at higher elevations, the plant has evolved to change the distribution of polyphenols from primarily catechins to anthocyanins. I'll show you the breakdown of that in just a minute. There's also some other properties as well. It does have more polyphenols in general than green tea, and actually the anthocyanin content that's in purple tea is much higher than what you would find in the traditional superfood of blueberries. I mentioned earlier more anthocyanidin content than what's clearly what's in green tea. And obviously that's reflected in the color of the leaves, as I showed you here in this previous slide. You can see this with the normal kind of green, but now you can start to see this kind of purple reddening of those leaves. There's also a very unique compound in purple tea that's called 1,2-di-O-gallyl 4,6-OS hydrohydroxy diphenyl B-D-glucose, or GHG. Now, GHG has just barely started being evaluated and studied. You'll notice this little peak here in this chromatogram that's showing the GHG, the presence of GHG. And this is what the chemical structure of GHG looks like. And I hope you're all jotting notes down, or at least taking a screenshot so you can memorize it later. GHG, at least in preliminary data, is suggesting some really interesting things in terms of metabolism. One is it's clear that it's showing, and this is done in animal models, a reduction in fat absorption. So in animals, and this is done in mice, a normal diet, mice will gain weight just utilizing normal chow. When they use a high-fat chow, you'll see that the body weight increases and is substantially higher than the normal chow body weight. But when you supplement the high-fat diet, the high-fat diet with the purple tea, you'll notice that there's less fat that's being absorbed, and it's hypothesized it's fat because you start to see an upregulation in fat oxidation and the CPT1A protein expression that's involved in fat metabolism. As I mentioned, this C3G blend also plays a real interesting role with a central metabolic sensor called adenosine monophosphate kinase, or AMPK for short. AMPK is primarily localized in the liver, not all exclusively, but much of its role is played there. And when it's activated, it starts to send out signaling messages to the liver, to skeletal muscle, and to adipocytes or adipose tissue. And what are some of those the results of that signaling when upon activation? Well, you start to see things like in adipose tissue, decreased lipogenesis, or the creation of new fat, right? You start to see an increase as well in insulin sensitivity, meaning your body needs to produce less insulin upon a meal production of glucose insult. You start to see in the liver suppressed or reduced gluconeogenesis. You see increased glucose uptake in skeletal muscle. So you can see why this is such a powerful pre-workout kind of component. Is as you're working out, you're going to see you have more mitochondria that's being produced, and you're also getting better glucose absorption and free fatty acid absorption in the skeletal muscle. Okay. The other really kind of curious and interesting thing is how these anthocyanidins modulate your appetite. Now, this was a study published in Functional Foods, and it's kind of an interesting study. You'll see that with ghrelin, a hormone that's involved in hunger signaling, when it has elevated levels of ghrelin or elevated levels of ghrelin are present, you'd start to say, I'm more hungry. Now, conversely, in the small intestines, where GLP-1 focuses more, you'll see when GLP-1 is elevated, then you have a satiety signal. Well, when you supplement with polyphenols, in particular these polyphenols, these anthocyanidin-rich polyphenols, you see a suppression in the ghrelin expression and an increase in the GLP-1 expression. So what does that mean? It's a modulation of your hunger, and this is manifested in a really simple questionnaire over time. How are you feeling? How full do you feel? How much do you think you can eat, and how hungry are you? And you can see over the course of time that your hunger is really controlled and suppressed, and your feeling of satisfaction and fullness increases. So I mentioned to you earlier, there really is that acute feeling of increased energy, and the appetite control is something that can take place. It really starts to really manifest itself about a week to 2 weeks into your consumption. Some people actually feel it almost immediately as they see it. And it's the kind of thing that you notice when you stop consuming the product. You'll start to notice that your hunger pangs, your those kind of carb cravings that you have start to come back, and they're a little more aggressive. So this is something that's really noticeable in the sense that it's something you can perceive, but it's also something you can measure. So just keep that in mind as you're using the product. And if you go through an afternoon or a morning without really feeling any need to eat, that's totally normal. That's a really fascinating byproduct or benefit of the product is just that it helps you work through, and in the process of doing that, you really start to leverage and utilize any of your stored energy and fat tissue. And it's a great idea to use purple with time restricted eating or intermittent fasting. It helps you get through those periods where you've committed to restrict your food consumption or eliminate your food consumption, and really over time you just start to see that calorie restriction take place and really kick in. Okay, let me show you some other data that I think is really interesting. This comes out of Spain, and it's a really interesting demonstration again of that AMP kinase, AMPK activation, and what are some of the kind of phenotype results from that. And you can see again in the mouse study, you can see when you supplement a high-fat diet um, with like a hibiscus extract, or in this case, a lemon verbena extract, you start to see really strong market differences in body weight. You see differences, improvements in cholesterol, LDL control. In this case, it's really triglycerides. And triglycerides are really a manifestation of us consuming too many carbohydrates. They're really the cause of what drives visceral fat and fatty liver. And you can see that when you supplement, again, that high fat, high carbohydrate diet, you start to see really the amelioration and the reduction of triglyceride levels, and also um, fatty liver content. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but that doesn't mean, I mean, my studies, typically only 30% of my studies translate into real human benefit. So let's look and see what some of those results are. Again, looking at a longer window of time, 60 days, which candidly really isn't that long, but let's just look at it and appreciate it for what it is. Again, you start to see a divergence in between the placebo group and the active group in terms of body weight, body fat percentage. You're talking, this is relatively sustainable and healthy. It could be accelerated clearly with some modifications in terms of energy consumption, and also macronutrient composition. Some pretty clear improvements in your blood sugar. What I love here is your blood pressure. When you have improvements in blood sugar and you're starting to reduce your body weight, the thing that really improves quickly is your blood pressure. So the metabolic benefits of the anthocyanidins are starting to clearly manifest themselves with time. It's not something that happens overnight, but it does happen slowly and surely, and with some applied consistency. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about that immediate benefit that you feel when you drink purple. So we have a really clean, simple blend of natural energy sources from guarana and yerba mate. And then we have a really interesting, I say interesting, that doesn't do it justice. And let me jump right into this particular component, L-theanine. I learned a lot about L-theanine working on a previous project with the previous company. And the other day, the great thing about quarantine or lockdown status is I get to catch up on a lot of reading. And in Nature, Nature is one of the really premier scientific journals. And if you publish in Nature, that's a huge boon for you to publish there and have that on your CV. Anyway, I just came across this article about drinking tea and how and its ability to help you lift your mood and focus and really the mental health aspects of tea drinking. And let me talk a little bit about that, because theanine is one of these amino acids that is produced naturally in Camellia sinensis. Now we take that, we extract it from the plant, and that's what we use in our product. We don't use a synthetic source. We use the physical extract, the extracted whole amino acid in the product. Now theanine works really primarily here in the brain. It's amazing. I would use that adjective. It's an amazing amino acid, and at the heart of that is one of its primary mechanisms of action is to target glutamate receptors in the brain, which initiate this cascade of signaling that the glutamate receptors will then stimulate the production of gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, and also glycine, and they release that. In the process of doing that, that triggers dopamine and serotonin levels to be released and then later absorbed in within other neurons. Think about what that means. Now you're not using the typical SSRI um, mechanisms for dopamine or serotonin release. And you're literally producing a mood enhancing sequence of signaling in your brain when you consume theanine. So think about that. My wife, she calls this product her happy juice. She loves to first thing in the morning get up, prepare her drink, drinks it. It's not like she's super cranky beforehand, but it's give her 30 minutes after that, and she's in a really good mood and super happy. And she's a lovely person anyway. She doesn't need purple or boost for that matter. But the fact that she calls it her happy juice and she's one of the best salesperson for this product. It's so simple for her to just share it with her girlfriends, and now we have a whole host of ladies that just love to drink the product because of the feeling of happiness and wellness that it provides to them. The other thing that theanine is known for classically is really this kind of paradoxical benefit where it gives you a sense of calm alertness. And that's driven again because due to the alternate mechanism of theanine, which is the production of the promotion of the production of alpha waves. Now, alpha waves, your brain operates in very simple terms. Your brain operates in certain frequencies, and depending on your activity level and the activities you're engaged in, your brain might be firing at really high frequencies, which is this beta. We typically don't get much into gamma, but most of the time we're in this beta frequency or wave. We're working. Alpha frequencies are slower, and they tend to be more associated with visualization, meditation, a calmed focus state. Now, theta and delta are deep sleep, deep meditation, dreaming kind of frequencies, and but alpha is the one where you're kind of in this zone where you're able to block out external factors and really hone in on the task at hand. And that's one of the beauties of drinking purple is you'll notice that you do feel energized, but you're not crazy, and you're really alert and really able to focus and drive deep into work that you need to do. It's a wonderful thing for working professionals in particular to, as they drink purple, one of the ways in which they can increase their productivity is through the consumption of purple. This helps them again focus, clean. It's a clean, energized focus. Helps them really hone in on the tasks that they really need to do. Who else could drink and benefit from this product? And one of the classes that I've mentioned already, and really the driving factor behind this is the fact that my wife loves products. We don't make and create businesses based off of a single person's opinion, but I will say that the fluidity and the rapidity of her ability to just share this so clean and simply with her girlfriends really sparked within us this idea. And we have testimonial after testimonial after testimonial of Tom, I love what you've done with this product. It's helped me survive X. We had a friend of ours take their family to Thailand for a Christmas service project, and they were just dying. The jet lag is real when you go on transoceanic flights, and purple was the product that saved them. They were able to get up and get going in the morning with a drink of purple, and then the great thing about purple is it doesn't create that kind of jittery nervousness that doesn't allow you to sleep. You can sleep really normally. You have elevated levels of GABA, which is part of what it helps induce a nice night's rest. So I mentioned working professionals are one group, stay-at-home moms, soccer moms are another great group of people who can really benefit from the consumption of this product. Let me offer, if I may, a really simple anecdote. I have a good friend who lives in Mexico City, and she was sharing this product with a friend, and she related the story to me. And I think I've shared this with a few of you, but it's worth commenting because it's really powerful. She had a girlfriend who was really struggling, and her girlfriend, she gave a box of product to her girlfriend to just try it out and let her experiment with it. Well, her girlfriend's daily routine was get up in the morning, fix breakfast for her kids, take them to school, go home, go back to bed, sleep for a couple hours, wake up again, get her kids, bring them home, let them do homework. She felt terrible. She felt like she was not being a good mother and a good wife. And you can imagine all of the angst and self-doubt that she was feeling. Well, she started to consume purple. And again, go back, one of the things you feel immediately is energy. So when she drank purple, she got up, she drank purple, she got her kids to school. She didn't feel like going back to bed. So she went to the gym and started working out. And she called her friend and she said, this has been a lifesaver for me. I feel energized. I feel so motivated, and it has totally changed my life. And my husband and kids are so glad they've got their mom and their wife back. And that's the kind of influence and power that this really simple product has. Okay. Who else can benefit from this product? Well, athletes for sure. Great pre-workout product. Boost is the product really to use for athletes. Drives much better performance. This product improves stamina. It improves your output, your power output, and also really again the improved stamina. You're just able to go for longer periods of time. And a lot of that is due to the vasodilating effects of the anthocyanidins. Excuse me. Who maybe should not take this product? We've talked about who can, who shouldn't. Well, if you have high blood pressure, you really ought to be careful with drinking the product. Purple has 80 milligrams of natural caffeine per serving. Boost has 120 milligrams, 50% more. So if you're sensitive to caffeine, natural caffeine, if you're sensitive, if you're concerned about blood pressure issues, think really seriously about working with your healthcare provider to make sure that this is the right product for you. One simple way that people with high blood pressure can use the product is to dilute it and consume it more over time. That way you're not absorbing everything all at once. But if you do have high blood pressure, that is something that you should be aware of. And anybody that's responsible will tell you that right up front. And we just want to make sure that we're pretty clear with it. It's a great product. And it really is designed for everybody, but this particular category needs to be a little bit sensitive and just aware. The other category of people are probably don't need to give it to kids. Kids are full of energy. Now, when I say kids, I'm talking really 12 and below. You know your kids best. You know what will help them. I have teenagers in my home who will take product to school and they drink it either before school or after lunch. I have a 15-year-old daughter that likes to drink the product after lunch. It helps her stay really focused through her computer coding class that she has after lunch, and she loves it. And it's a good healthy dose for her to be able to manage. I don't give it to my 9-year-old. My 9-year-old is a beautiful young lady who bounces off the walls with a lot of energy. She's amazing, and it's not something for her, and it's okay. Even though she loves the taste and she likes to drink it, she maybe just gets a few gulps or a few mouthfuls, but it's not really for her. Now, you parents of young children or grandparents, if you're thinking about it, you can see the real candidates for purple are this fine looking couple here. Those are really kind of the summary. This is the summary of the product. It's really a multifunctional, faceted product that is designed to help you, be the best version of you. And so, make sure that if you're new to the call and you're curious of how you can try the product, talk to the person who invited you. Let them know you're interested, and they'll be happy to help you get some product into your hands and try it. And that's really the one thing to take away from this today is get this into your hands, start using it. You'll see something change for the better in your life. You'll feel more energized. You'll feel better and happier. And you'll be able to be more productive at the end of the day. And with where we're at right now, we need more happiness and we need more good things happening in our lives. And purple's definitely the vehicle to do that. So without any further ado, I'll bid you adieu. Next week, we'll be talking about a product that's really heavily involved in our rejuvenate step on the core health system, our peak protein. So come back next week and we'll talk a little bit more about that product. And in the meantime, again, reach out to the person who connected you to the call and is more than happy to address any more questions you might have. Thanks so much, everybody. I look forward to talking with you again.